Good morning, YouTube. Zanrith coming at you with another one. Oh, man. DJ Zanrith coming at you. No, what is it? What's DJ Khaled do? DJ Zanrith. Coming at you. No, what does he say? He's got another verb. Anyways. Another one. There you go. That's what it is. Anyways. Zanrith back in Buffalo, and it's a 8 a.m. on a Saturday, which is a time I haven't seen in quite a while. But I am going up to Hebler's today. And I will be... Oh man, I am not used to this bike. I will be getting this bike, the Ninja 300, an inspection, some new rear tires, and that's about it. So I'm going to go up there for a while, hang out, because it's just going to drop it off. It's going to be a hot day, so maybe I'll see if I can test ride something. Maybe I don't know, take some pictures of what's in stock. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But before we get to that, I am going to do this little video. And this little video is about how awesome this Ninja 300 really is. And basically, it's a 2-year. That's how long we've owned it. And it's mostly been ridden by me. Heather's been riding it lately, but was my bike to start with. And I've got 12,709 miles on it. So I've put some distance on it. So I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion about this Ninja 300, which may or may not be useful because they're not making them anymore. But you might find some used ones out there, and someone might be like, I wonder what XYZ. And maybe I can give you guys a little insight. And this Uber driver is up my ass. If he continues this, I'm going to get off my bike and have a word with him, because he stopped to the left of me, basically. And I had to roll that stop sign so he would not hit me, because I think he was going to hit me. Okay, so the Ninja 300. What is it? Well, this is 2016. And they were made from 2000, let's say, I want to say it was 13 to 2017. And after 2017, something with EU regulations about the exhaust and parts per million of CO2 being released and the emissions, Kawasaki went, the 300's too small to do what we want to do with it. Let's create a 400. They created a 400. So now we have the Ninja 400, which I think looks infinitely better than this 300, just because it looks like the H2, and I'm a fanboy of the H2, I'm not going to lie. What do we get? Oh, it's a red light. Son of a gun. So what is it? 300 cc's, but it's really like 298. Whatever. It'll get you up. You'll get moving. You got no big problems with it. It's a sport bike, but it's not your super sport. It's not your R6s. It's not your ZX6Rs. It's not your CBR 600s. You're not over the tank. It's an upright sport bike, and that's the difference. A lot of people don't understand when they look at the Kawasaki website. And this from talking to friends and family. They're like, "Oh, you've got a race bike. You're all over the tank." I'm like, I know it's a sport bike, and Kawasaki really breaks up their classification. They have what they call a super sport, which is my ZX6R, which is ZX10R 14. Used to have other ZX number R in there, and those are the ones where you're going to be over the gas tank. You're going to be leaning way the hell over, and you're going to be racing. And they're going to have all 4 cylinders. They're not going. And they're going to RPM a lot higher than this bike. They're going to have a lot more power, even though like the ZX6R is 636 cc's, and the Ninja 650 is 650. But the ZX6R has 4 cylinders, and this Ninja 650 has 2. And because it has 2 cylinders, even though the engine's smaller, it's able to produce a lot more power, be a lot faster, RPM a lot higher. And I mean, that has to do with the gearing, the tuning, and all that good stuff. So basically, I am on an upright sport bike. Insert picture here of what that looks like from a riding stance. Maybe I'll get my tripod out and take a shot of my riding stance. So I'm very much upright. It is a very comfortable bike for me. I am just shy of 6 foot, and Heather is, I want to say she's 5'6", and I may be giving her half an inch there, but that's fine, 5'6". And she is just barely flat foot with this bike right now. And I got my knees up. I don't know if you saw when I looked down there, but I got my knees up. I'm comfortable. It's a lot different than my 636 right now, so I'm kind of getting used to it, if that makes sense, but trying to. It's very comfortable. You know, you can turn your whole body with it. Not like the ZX6R where you're over the top and you got to kind of stretch for it. You can really just twist around, look around. And for that, I find it very comfortable. It was good as a commuter bike, which is what I used it for a lot. It was back and forth to work. And for longer distances, my parents are in Syracuse, I'm in Buffalo. So it was like, you know, we had to cruise down the highway. Now, a lot of you are probably going, whoa, highway riding for a couple hours on a Ninja 300. What's that like? Well, you know, it's underpowered for highway, in my opinion. Like, I mean, it's a great bike, don't get me wrong. It'll do 100 something. I've done higher than I will admit to my mother on this bike. I think I've hit triple digits on it. If not, I've hit very close. Just cruising with people on the highway that were doing almost the same. And it will move. I mean, it doesn't have, ooh, windy. It doesn't have the pep of a Super Sport, and that's, you know, not to be expected at the price point of, I think they were 5,000 new, and you guys watching this can probably pick them up for 3, 2.5, 3.5, somewhere in that range, depending on year, accessories, and all that good crap on it. You can probably pick them up pretty reasonably for your first bike. But will it do highway speeds? Oh, this thing will kill it on the highway. You would not be surprised how many times I've gone to Syracuse. I've gone from Buffalo to Binghamton. I went to PA Erie on it once, and it moves. I'm not afraid to be on the highway with this thing. Granted, with the new exhaust, which is the Two Brothers M2 slip-on black edition, I think. I did a whole video on the exhaust. It's in the description below. Ooh, false neutral. Nice job. Fucking noob. So it will definitely do the highway. It's very light. Like that gust of wind just came up and it blew me. I want to see like 325-ish. Don't 100% quote me on that, but it's in the lower 3 range of weight. So it's a lighter bike. It gets blown around a bit. You're upright. You're not as over the tank, so the wind's gonna hit you a little more. But it's light. It's nimble. You can really just like whip this thing around. It'll go side to side, very maneuverable, which is one of the greatest things I loved about really starting, you know, more distance riding, more serious riding on this bike, was that I could just whip this thing around. You know, if it started to fall, I can just pick it back up. You know, like it's so light. Balance point's really nice on it. The thing that I really like about it is that if I go to make a really sharp turn, all I gotta do is turn the handlebars. Like there's no confliction with the gas tank. With some Super Sports, when you turn the handlebars, your hands are basically on the gas tank. Where this, I can do a really tight U-turn, and the handlebars being up in the position they are, I can just hold it. There's no conflictions. There's no bump in the gas tank. None of that. Let's see if we can stop here for a second. I'll just twist the handlebars for you. If we stop, do it quick, okay. But I still have room, and that's a really sharp turn. Where my ZX6R, I'm like, my hand's getting squished between the gas tank and the handlebar at that point. So the power's really nice. The clutch is very smooth for it. You know, I gotta rev it up a little bit more than my ZX6R, but, you know, you're comparing apples to race apples. What do we got? See, you can just twist around like that. Like, I can't do that on my ZX6R because I'm sitting a little more over the tank. I gotta kind of like bend at the waist. So I like that. It's really nice being upright. Maybe that's me getting older that I'm like, oh, I like being upright a little more. But I also love my ZX6R, so don't worry, I'm not getting rid of it for something that's upright like this. The styling of it, I like how the Ninja 300 looked compared to the... it looks a lot like a 250, but it doesn't. There's slight design modifications to it that make it look more like, I want to say, the ZX6R line, which is, I've been asked several times by people, because it doesn't say 300 on it anywhere that I can see, at least. It doesn't have, like, you know, Ninja 300. It just has Kawasaki Ninja on the tank and some striping, okay? So I've been asked, what is that, 600, 500? It's, you know, ZX6R, and I'm like, no, it's a 300. They're like, what? I'm like, I know, right? It's impressive for what it is. So the styling I really like. Red was not my favorite color choice. The dealership that I bought this from was going out of business, and I got it cheaper than I got quoted a 2014 Ninja 300. So I went into a dealership around the Buffalo area. I can't tell if no. So I went to 3 dealerships in the Buffalo area and just looked. I didn't really talk to anybody there. I just looked at their price point. I can't see her on this. Okay, we're going. Yeah, I didn't talk to any salesmen. I didn't do anything. I just basically went on with the sticker price that was in the showroom. And when I picked this up, it was substantially cheaper than any sticker price I could find anywhere else. The company, I forget which one it was. It was somewhere down south of Buffalo. Like, I don't remember. They used to be a Kawasaki dealer, but now they lost their franchisee rights. I don't know what that works for. They lost their dealership rights to be a Kawasaki dealer. And they had a couple 2014, I think they were. Yeah, 2014 brand new. And they looked good. You know, they had a little different color to them, but they still looked good. They had them in stock, but they wanted more than the brand new 2016. Yay. Oh, there you go. Another false neutral. I gotta work on that one. I'm also wearing my safety shoes today, my Converses. I'm not in my normal boots, so shifting is gonna be weird either way. It's going to be a hot one today. Got to stay a little cooler if I can. And I will skimp on shoes if I have to, but not the jacket and not pants. So, or the gloves. Oh, Buffalo Police. Yay. Let's see. What else we need to talk about? The 0 to 60. I've never pushed it. Probably about 6 seconds. 6 something. Sounds good. You know, it's a 300. What do you want? It does move, but it doesn't fly. What else you got? I've ridden a lot with a 2-up on this, which is, a lot of people are like, what do you mean? Okay, so I'm like 180, I think. Let's say that. I'm 180 with the jacket on, soaking wet. And Heather there, she's like, 100 pounds with 100 pounds in her back pocket. She doesn't weigh crap. Which is great, it makes it easier when we're riding for long distance, and I go, hey, you still back there? I can't figure this out. Yeah, so I've ridden 2-up with her a lot. I've had a couple other people on the back that are, a little bigger, and, I still didn't have problems. The bike, the balance point's pretty good. I didn't really have a huge problem with it. So that was fun. When I went to Binghamton with it, I took Heather, and Heather was on the back, so that was an enjoyable ride. She had a backpack on, though. That was all my stuff for the weekend, and that was not enjoyable for her. The backpack probably weighed more than she does. So I feel bad about that. That's why, A, we got 2 bikes now, and B, I bought saddlebags, which, if you guys don't know, there should be a video about that already, too. But who knows when I'll post these. We'll find out. Don't you dare come into my lane. Yeah, good. So the things I really do like, I'm not too bad with the display on the bike. There is one thing they could have done a lot better is, and I'm gonna try to see if I can do it without pissing anyone off behind me. That right turn signal, see it? Good. It's behind a little tinted piece of plastic, and it's tinted dark. And when the sun's just right, you can't see it at all. Like you can't see that turn signal being on. It's just too damn dark. And the same with the left, same exact thing. And that's a real bad criticism I have about this bike, is that Heather will have to ask me over the Senna sometimes, hey, is my turn signal still on? I can't see it, it's too bright. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I added the dark windscreen here to try to mitigate that problem a little bit. But, it's still not perfect. Okay. This guy's going to get turn lanes. I'm going to sit here. Yep. The stock shifters, they weren't bad by any means. I liked them, but I wanted shorties, and I got to get them soon for my ZX6R, and I'm creeping. Yeah. I'm gonna get yeah, the ZX6R is gonna get basically the same one as the orange, and Heather at some point wants to swap these out for a different color. Whatever, it's her bike now. I will help with wrenches, do whatever she wants to it. But I like the shorties. They're really comfortable, 2-finger, you know, adjustable, all that. And I got these on Amazon for like $30. They're not like a great brand, but they work really well. And I wasn't sure if I would like them. I've never had shorty shifters. I've only had, you know, my XS 650 just has long shifters, and everything else I've ever ridden was never modified like that. So I wasn't sure if I'd like them. I'm glad I spent $30 on them. And if I buy them again in the future, if they have the color I want and the construction's good, I'll pay more for them. Maybe breakaway ones on the ZX6R just in goddamn case. What else? Everything's ergonomically pretty good. I can reach all the controls without stretching too far. I love the passing function on this, on the light here. So the light here in my trigger finger, my little index, that flashes the high beam. It's for passing. I mean, I've used it several times if people cut me off, or, you know, if someone's in my way going super under the speed limit, flash me a few times, and hopefully they get the... Yeah, come on. What else can we talk about? The mirrors. They're a little far out there. They're a little hard to reach if you want to, but the visibility is pretty good. They're set up for Heather right now. I'm not going to move them, but now I can see behind me. I think you can see a little too much behind her. I like to see the sides and just like do kind of like duck a little bit and lean to see what's directly behind me. I'd prefer really to see what's in the lanes left and right of me, just because if I'm changing lanes like this, I can just kind of quick peek it and then switch my head around. But yeah, to each their own. And maybe where Heather sits, maybe she's lower. Well, where would she be? I don't know. She'd be a little closer. Maybe because she's a little shorter, maybe she's a little closer. Maybe she's got it set up right. I'll have to ask her and maybe check her video. Ooh, Tim Hortons. I'd go for some coffee. Distracted. Braking on this bike is phenomenal. I had one incident where I had to brake hard. Two guys were supposed to, it was like this, where it merges into one lane, and they just kept up with each other, and then both of them slammed on their brakes and came to a dead stop in a 35. And I was paying attention, but I was like, wait, why are they coming at me so fast? And by the time I had time to react to it, because you don't expect someone to stop in the middle of a road on you. I may have stopped a bit, but it worked. As soon as the front end started coming up, I let off a little bit, angled myself, got the hell out of the way if I could, and it worked. The side power is actually really good. Might have to put new brakes on this thing. Maybe next year. I think I gotta get my little gauge out and see where we're at for these, but maybe next year new brakes on it and maybe pads. I did it again, man. Hey, good job, you stopped. Thank God. Throttle response, when I got it, there was a lot of play on the throttle, and I just adjusted that out so that it's like there's no wiggle in it. I don't like wiggle. I don't like dead zone, dead space, dead pool. No, I like dead pool. I don't like whatever it is. I'm gonna call it the dead zone. Is that what they call it in joysticks? I remember that from like back in the 90s and the early 2000s, playing games with a joystick on my computer. The dead zone, where it doesn't do anything, it just moves. Well, I don't like the dead zone on a bike. I don't know. I didn't have it on the XS 650, and I think with my XS 650, the guy, when it wasn't running right, he just adjusted the throttle so it was already pulling when it was supposed to be idling. So like the idle would go down because the carbs were full or whatever, or full. They were dirty, or they were, whatever, not working properly, not getting the right fuel to air ratio, and he just adjusted it so it was already starting to pull the throttle back on you. So when I went to go clean the carbs and readjust everything, I totally threw everything out of whack. So what I've done to this bike up until this point that I'm going to keep doing stuff on, because, well, Heather will keep doing stuff. I added the smoked windscreen, and by smoked, I mean I think it's basically solid black. I can't really see through it. Can I? Oh, no, I can see through it. It's very, very dark black. That was to try to help with it added 4 horsepower. Just like any sticker you add, it's 5. This added 4. Insert sarcasm here. But in reality, what it did is I was trying to block out some of the sun from getting the instrument panel at certain times so that I could see that turn signal a little bit. And I usually jam an easy pass down in there, and that hides it really well. If someone walks by and I forget to take the easy pass out, can easily, you know, it's kind of hidden back there. Heather added the exhaust onto this, the two brothers, because one of our friends was getting rid of his 300, and I think he did a full muffler delete with just a little short pipe coming out. It was loud as hell. But he gave it to us for a great price because it has a few scratches on it, and she is absolutely in love with it. I don't mind it. When I'm moving, I don't really hear it for myself because it's behind me. But when I'm stopped, I definitely hear the bike a lot more, and that was one thing the stock exhaust on most bikes are, they're almost terrible. They're quiet or they're whiny, and I'm not a fan of it. But there's probably regulations that say how many decibels they have to be and all that, and we're probably blowing those out of the water, modifying them. And they probably do something for EPA regulations, and we're probably screwing that up, and I don't care. We added the K&N air filter in here, which was super easy. I did that before I gave it to Heather. And the shorty shifters. Oh, the ram mount. I forgot about the ram mount. I got a Yoshimura steering stem bolt that I drilled, tapped, Loctited, and put the ram mount in. I tried to do it with a stock one, and the stock one was just such a hard... Well, two things I did wrong. It's a harder material. It's definitely not aluminum. It's got to be more of a steel because it's heavy too. Where this is an aluminum piece, so it was easier to drill into. And I tried to tap a 3/8 by, I forget, huge thread tap into it, which was extremely hard to do, where this one's quarter by, I don't know. I don't know what the number is. Quarter by 20 maybe? Is that 20 threads per, whatever. The standard size for a camera, basically. And I was like, well, it's a phone. It's not going to take that much force, is it? And so far, so good. Loctited in there, problem solved. And we put these spool sliders on the back, the Yoshimura's, just to lift it up, clean the chain, which it probably needs, and maybe they'll take care of it for me up there. I haven't checked it in a while. Wait, where did we go last? We went on a trip not too long ago. Was that? It might be like just due for a chain cleaning thing, because I think I cleaned it right before on that trip. And I don't remember Heather and I riding much after that because of schedules and weather and all that, so... I know I rode my 636 a lot, but good times. Hey, another friend. What's up, man? How's it going? Yay! Someone waved. Will it wheelie? That's going to be a question I'm going to either see in the comments at some point or whatever. Yeah, I can definitely wheelie this. No, wait. I can't wheelie this one because I forgot the last addition I did to it. I put a 15-tooth sprocket in the front. So... For those of you who know nothing about gearing like I did when I started watching YouTube videos and going through forums about all this crap, is this bike comes with a 14-tooth sprocket in the front, and I don't know in the back. I'm not going to take a guess at it. See, because I'd say like 420, and that's probably the chain links, and it's probably more like 110 or something, but we'll just say, I don't know. I actually don't know. I really don't know. So I was on the highways going back and forth to Syracuse, Rochester, and I'd be ripping it, like doing 75 on the speedometer, and I'd have Waze open on my thing, and I'd be doing like 70. And I'm like, no, I don't want my bike to be working harder to go slower. So I was looking up how to fix it, and they're like, oh, buy a speedo healer. Oh, that's $100-something. And then another guy's like, well, I put a 15-tooth sprocket in. I lost some of the acceleration on the bike, but I gained the top end that I needed for the highways because he did a lot of highway riding like I was doing. I'm like, okay, let's see what this is. $20. It was a little, I didn't know what I was doing, except for I've taken apart this 650 a bit, and I've worked on the Yamaha, and it's... So I was like, okay, what am I getting myself into on this bike? It's a different bike. Okay, check it out. It was a really simple process. It took me maybe an hour to do after I got all my tools together. Nothing that anyone really couldn't do. Or to swap it back if they wanted to. So got the 15 tooth, and now when my speedometer says I'm doing 70 on this bike, I'm really doing about 72. But the bike also then says that I'm in eco mode, which is a better gas mileage mode. I don't know. I think that's what that means. And with the amount of distance riding that I do, better gas mileage can't hurt. Especially because I think the bike accelerates just fine still. Well, not compared to the ZX6R, but that's because I have a prejudice towards my beautiful silver Bullet. Not sponsored by Coors. Not really sponsored by Coors. If Coors wants to sponsor me, I will tell them that I love their beer. They're not even gonna watch this. So what else can I say about the bike? I don't know, headlights are good. You can see well at night with them. I wear a tinted visor a lot of the times at night because I'll go out in the daytime and forget. And I don't have a problem with the headlight on this. I mean, back roads obviously get darker, but if you can turn on the high beam, go ahead. It's brighter. Tail light's bright. Turn signals are good. No one's ever said, I didn't see you. Well, they didn't say I didn't see your turn signals or brake light. They've said I didn't see you, and I went, well, you were on the phone and you didn't look, so no wonder you didn't see me. Wind comes right up the windscreen. Let's see, like right over my head, right? Well, just a little. If I ducked, yeah, it's like hitting the top of my head, which is great because I got vents in the top of my helmet, so it's pushing air right into there. If I duck down, yeah, I've got no wind right now. It's like a little off the shoulders, but that's it. So windscreen does enough, and this is the double bubble. I think it's very close to the stock one, if not exactly the same, where there would be no differences, but it's extremely close. I don't know what else to say other than that. I'm gonna talk a little more after I get new tires on it and everything too. So YouTube, I just spent about 10 minutes talking to you guys, and I never turned my Senna on to record my audio. So yeah, awesome. Let's see if I can remember what I was talking about. Wasn't much, just my overall thoughts on the bike after getting these new tires on it is the tires feel nice. I got to keep it a little more upright now because it's got the anti-mold and stuff on the tires, the little stuff that's shiny and I guess keeps the tires clean while they just sit there waiting to be purchased. I don't know. Is it underpowered? Well, no, it's a 300. You're not buying a Super Sport. You're buying a 300. Like, you should understand what that entitles before you go and buy it. When people are like, oh, your 300 is so small, it's like, yeah, well, I bought a small bike. There's a reason it's small. It's what I wanted at the time. It made sense. It's a great commuter. Yeah, that's another point. It's a great commuter bike. I mean, it'll do highway speeds. It'll get there. It's not, no, it's by no means a race bike, and it's no way going to suck you back on the seat, but it'll go. It'll get up there to speed pretty quickly, which is nice. The stance on it, the way you sit, is really nice, I think, for commuting, longer distance riding. It's not going to be like a Super Sport where you're over the tank. It's going to be an upright, postured bike, which lends itself to a lot of different things you can do with it. It's very agile. It'll move. It'll go around corners nicely. It's not too heavy. The balance point's nice on it, front to back. I feel like stock one, you can wheel it. For you guys who are like being up on one wheel, I don't, but that's all you guys. Highway speeds. I mean, it's a lighter bike, so on the highway you may get blown around a little bit by the wind, and you're also sitting upright, so you're giving yourself more vertical surface area, you know, to get blown around with. There's a million different modifications you can do to the bike, and they're all very, like fairly cheap. You can do a lot to this bike really quickly. Won't really add speed to it, but it'll be cool. It'll be unique. There's fairing kits out there for like less than $400. You can change the whole color of the bike. Of course, you can buy a can of spray paint for $6 or whatever, and do it yourself if you really want to. But I tried to do something silly like that, and I messed up. So, oh well. I can't go and get groceries on it. There's no storage, so can't really talk about that much. The throttle's very responsive on it, though it's, though it's a 300. You give it a little power, she gets moving. Oh, and she farts. Yeah, the only real bad thing that I have to say are the turn signals. The horn's nice and loud, high beam's bright, you know, as you would expect. And the turn signals, the only thing is the dark turn signals. You can't see them if it's too bright out, which does suck, and has been a reason Heather and Courtney there have left their turn signals on. So oh, I couldn't see it. It's like, yeah, I could see that. Gas mileage is good. Tank size is good. It's not, I gotta stop saying don't I? Man, I gotta get better at this motovlogging stuff. Guys are starting to follow me now. The tank is a decent size, I think, in shape. On the, I want to say RC 390s or whatever, the tank's kind of wider. No, not RC. The Duke 390, which is another bike basically in the class as this, except it's a naked sport instead of a sport bike. The tank's kind of wider, I feel like, and your legs are wide. Okay, back to the tank. The tank's a good size, good shape. My legs are on it. I can hug it pretty good with my legs. It's a, I want to say a 3.5 or a 4-gallon tank. No, it's got to be 4.5. It's got to be closer to 4. I think I put 3.5 gallons in it a lot. Like, well, I don't remember. It's been a while. Heather's been filling it up. It's her bike now. I want to say it's, I would say let's go with a 4.5-gallon tank. Combined with the like 60 miles per gallon this thing gets, it goes a ways before you need to fill up, which is really nice. With the exhaust that we have on it, it's fairly loud. It's loud enough that you can definitely hear it on the highway and everywhere else you need to go. So I guess I've tried to wrap this video up a few times by giving my final thoughts. So if I forgot something, you guys can rewatch parts of this and figure out what I was talking about. I'm kind of rambling now. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm gonna go head back to the apartment, go get Heather, and then create a second video of the day because we're probably going for a longer ride tonight. Because it is very warm out, and moving actually is cooling me down, so I gotta keep going. So guys, until the next video, this would be Zanrith signing off.